going to go over my competition. It is at the end of September, so I got 8-ish weeks until then. So it is a Strongman Corporation sanctioned event. My previous competition was a USS, United States Strongman sanctioned event. I don't know if it really matters local competition wise, but it does qualify you for different nationals. First event is the axle clean and press. First event is the axle clean and press ladder. I'm competing in the 105 kilo weight class. It's about 231 pounds. For this event, looks like they allow pretty much everything, even a grip shirt, but grip shirt under competition shirt. I've never had a grip shirt under another shirt, but I feel like it just defeats the purpose. I don't know. Anyways, no tacky, no straps, which is pretty typical for any kind of axle clean and press. The weights for my weight class are first bar is 190, second bar is 200, third bar is 210, and fourth bar is 220. And then you rep out the fourth bar. And then I think you get points for each rep. So like means you just did one of each. 5 reps means you did one of each. And then hit an extra rep on the last one and so on. This, on the surface at least, looks like pretty low weight. So hopefully that's good for me. I don't know how many reps I can hit total, but I've done 3 sets of 5 with 225 before. More weight than any of this. I think my axle clean and press max is around the high 200s. I haven't maxed out on it in a while, but it's in the high 200s. So this, on paper, so far looks like a pretty good event for me. The next event is going to be yoke for distance. So they're giving us 60 seconds to carry the yoke. They're 50 feet long runs, and then you have to cross just the front spokes of the yoke, turn around and head back. You can drop as many times as you want, and you get 60 seconds to just go as far as you can. All right, so the weight for this yoke is 650 pounds. Should be a weight that I can keep moving for the whole 60 seconds. I don't know how fast, but I think a good goal for me would just to be keep moving for the whole 60 seconds. Preparing for USS Nationals last year, I think the yoke was 750. I worked up, I think in training till I got injured, I worked up to 630, around there. Wasn't great, but I was able to move with it. I think 50 feet run, 60 seconds. I don't know. Obviously I'm peaking for it, but I think 3 to 4 reps, 4 lengths would be good for me. Not good for me, but be like a goal. I'll see as the yoke gets heavier in training and I get closer to the competition, maybe I can dial in my expectations. At this point, I think minimum of 3 would be good for me. Maybe 3 and then starting into the 4th, and hopefully no drops. All right, what is next? Third event is stone to shoulder for reps. 60 seconds. They give you 3 options of Atlas stone weights, and you basically 1 rep of a heavier weight beats any number of reps of a lower weight. Looks like this competition only has 3 stones in general for this. Like weights for all the weight classes, it's listing the same stones. I don't know if that's a mistake, or maybe it's something that just hasn't been updated yet, but the options are 180, 240, and 335 pounds. Between the second and third stone, hopefully they have some high 200s, like a 285. I think I'd be able to hit a 285 for a rep or 2, but I feel like 240 would be pretty light. And so 180 seems very light to me. Like that weight I started my prep at, and I'm hitting 6 reps, no problem. 240 seems like a jump that you think most people in my weight class will be able to do. So I'd like to see one in the high 200s. Obviously, they just have the stones that they have. 335, I'm probably my max stone over bar weight. Like I'm shouldering that. I don't know how many reps. I think 5 to 8 would be a good performance. But like I said, I'd like to see a high 200 stone because I think that would help separate people a little more. Anyways, let's see what's next. It's max deadlift. I'm hoping these aren't in order because Benito, Ben. Anyways, I'm hoping these aren't in order because max deadlift as a 4th event after a yoke for distance, after stone to shoulder, axle clean and press, rough. I was saying I wanted to hit a PR and hit in the 600s. But 4 events in, if I could hit a 600-pound deadlift, not 600, but in the 600s, I would be very happy with that. How the competition's going, there's only one more event. If it is actually the fourth event and I'm doing well in the competition, I'll probably just try to push for a PR. And I need to save energy so I can get my best result for the last event. Or if the deadlift is moved up to an earlier event, then I'm probably just going to do what I need to win if I'm in shooting range to win. We get 3 attempts. If you miss a lift, you're done. Typical stuff. They're not allowing deadlift suits or briefs like that. They are allowing figure 8 straps and belts. Basically, your typical raw deadlift. And I think it's a rising bar, so you just kind of hit your 3 attempts as you get to the weight. First competition in general. It was not great. It was an axle deadlift. And the way they were doing weight jumps, I basically hit, let's see, I think I did 535 on the axle, which at that point was my PR for an axle. And I'd only been using an axle bar for weeks at that point. Jumped in and I think it was like 95, 515, 535. And there weren't a lot of people. There were a lot of people a little bit lower and a lot of people higher. And so the people doing those weights that I was planning on doing, there weren't very many. And so I had to hit these reps, boom, with minimal rest. It kind of sucked, but prepared for it. I don't know exactly how like weight jumps will be for this, but it is something to keep in mind. But yeah, I don't really know if I could get, I don't know how many people are going to be signed up for the competition. So I don't know. If depending on the amount of people, winning it would be a great goal. Top 3, depending on how many people end up being in the weight class, I'd be happy with that as well. All right, let's move on to the last event, which is the Dinnie Stone handle hold. So it says they have some mock Dinnie Stones. Oh, no, mock Dinnie Stone handles. Never mind. For a second there, I thought they had mock Dinnie Stones that they were like laid into, which would be really cool, but just the handles, which they suck, as I mentioned in yesterday's video. Belts, nothing else. No straps, obviously, because it's a grip event. Hopefully they allow liquid chalk because that's what I use. And yep, and hold it as long as possible. Right now, my lifts are shit. I'm not expecting to do well in this at all. Weights are in pounds. So heavy stone's 330 pounds, the light stone's 305. It sucks because the next weight class up, the 120 kilo weight class, they're doing the actual Dinnie Stone weights. The ratios are a little weird for this. I think it's typically the lighter stone is 77% of the heavy stone. And here, I don't know what the exact percentage is, but 330 for the heavy, 305 for the light, like the right ratio. They have to design the weight. They have to design the competitions and the weight to make it easy to transition between weight classes to make sure the competition moves smoothly. So I get it. Gonna be perfect. And I'd rather a competition be ran smoothly, efficiently, than have the weights be perfect and then make it take an extra 5 minutes between weight classes to change the weight. And that adds up over 5 events. So yeah, competition run efficiently is important, especially because just amateur strongmen doing this for fun on the weekend. I don't think anybody wants to spend 12 hours there. I come from a wrestling background, and wrestling competitions are ran, like wrestling tournaments are ran very well. At least all the ones I went to. Very clear when you're going next, what weight class is up, and it's enjoyable when stuff is ran well. I started competing in jiu-jitsu, and those tournaments are ran terrible. There were times where I'd come off the mat. Well, there was a time where I was in the semifinals. I just got done with my previous match to get into the semifinals. The opponent has been sitting there for 30 minutes. I step off the mat and they call me up to do the semifinal match, literally back to back on the same mat I just got off of, while my opponent had 30 minutes rest. That's ran terribly. That obviously you can't make rest times perfect for everybody, but you think 0 rest time versus 30 minutes rest time, there's clear advantage there. And then another competition, jiu-jitsu tournament I did, where do tournaments, you have the people competing in the match right away. Then you have on deck, which is the next match to go. once that one's finished. And then you have in the hole, which is 2 back. And it's like that they use in wrestling tournaments and jiu-jitsu tournaments. I was at a jiu-jitsu tournament where they kept telling me I'm in the hole or on deck for this match. And I'm sitting there in like warming up. And then they're like, you know what? We're going to have these people go first. You're in the hole instead. And so I sit down a minute and have an idea of what time I need to warm up and paying attention to the current match going. Sure that I'm warmed up for the match, but I'm not like myself, but I'm also not warmed up. Anyways, I was told I was either in the deck or on deck or in the hole for my actual match game. And by that time I had warmed up, cooled down 4 or 5 times, and I get on the mat and I'm flat because, yeah, about that. I just want a competition to be ran well. And I get that incidents and issues pop up, things have to pivot. As long as the organizers are communicating it, it's not a problem. But yeah, experience with that. I'm not gonna ramble too long. But overall for the competition, axle clean press, I feel like I can push to take the first. For yoke, same for stone to shoulder. Deadlifts, honestly, I have no idea. I feel like if it's later in the competition, it's better for me. I feel like my conditioning holds up well and I can be closer to my peak form later in the show than the average competitor. But in so long, I can't give I'd be happy with top 3. And if it's a smaller competition, then definitely pushing for first on that as well. The dinnie stone handles, I have no confidence in at this point. An adventure during prep to see if that actually changes or not. My grip's usually pretty good, but grip is not my limiting factor right now. Anyways, that's overview of my competition. I'll probably do another one a little bit closer and maybe one more the week of, like my thoughts after my last heavy training session. But yeah, then my video tomorrow. We'll see what it is. But yeah, see you guys next time.